This final chapter, Chapter 5, contains 4 quiz questions to test your understanding of the materials. Question 1. I sell protection on a $10 million notional CDS that permits the buyer to deliver either senior or subordinated/junior debts of the reference entity following a credit event. To hedge myself, I buy protection on a $20 million notional CDS that permits me to deliver only senior obligations. If following a credit event, the recovery value per dollar of face value for the reference entity's senior debt is RS, while for subordinated debt it is RJ for junior. Which of the following is true, assuming both parties behave rationally? Here are the 4 possible answers. Solution to question 1. The diagram appearing here shows from my perspective, hence me in the middle, the cash payments and the market values of bonds delivered under both legs of the trade following a credit event, all in units of $10 million. It is apparent that my gain is 1 plus RJ minus 2 times RS, which may be positive or negative depending on the values of RS and RJ. The answers in A, B, and C are all different from this correct amount, so those 3 answers are incorrect. The answer in D is correct, since for all values of RS less than 50%, 1 minus 2RS, items you see on the right-hand side of that equation, becomes positive, and therefore the entire expression 1 plus RJ minus 2RS would be also positive, therefore I would have a gain. Question 2. A trader sells protection under a 10-year CDS contract when the spread is 300 basis points, then unwinds the contract 5 years later when the spread is 350 basis points for that remaining maturity. Which of the following is closest to the P&L per dollar of notional which she can realize? Here are the 4 possible answers. Solution to question 2. Chapter 4 explained that the outcome of a CDS unwind is roughly equal to the contract's remaining duration times the movement in the CDS spread since inception. A CDS with a 5-year remaining tenor was also described in that chapter as having a duration of approximately 4, so the outcome of the unwind per dollar of notional is 2% as indicated here. And since spreads have widened since the trader sold protection, she would have incurred a loss in this amount since she must now purchase protection at 350 basis points annually while earning only 300 basis points annually on the original contract on the right-hand side, and therefore the correct answer is B as in boy. Question 3. Without reviewing the material for the course, Identify which of the four alternatives for CDS settlement came closest to replicating the loss to an investor who simply purchases a bond in the cash markets. Remember that we assume the risk-free rate is 0, that the investor can fund himself at this risk-free rate, and that the reference entity has only one bond outstanding. The four possible answers, A, B, C, and D, appear in this grid, and you are to select the one that represents the nearest result to purchasing a bond. Solution to question 3. We show here the results we had obtained from our earlier analysis of the different modes of settlement. We remind you that C is the bond's coupon, R its recovery value following a credit event, and S the CDS annualized spread at inception. A bondholder would invest $1 upfront and be left holding a bond worth R times 1 plus C following a credit event. So would have a loss of 1 minus R times 1 plus C, the amount indicated in red in italics on the bottom right quadrant of this table. Thus, the correct answer is D as in David. Question 4. Which of the following clauses is likely to cause a CDS spread to widen? Here are the four possible answers. Solution to question 4. Any clause that provides the protection seller with discretion or optionality on any matter reduces the risk to the seller and therefore brings down the CDS spread. Any clause providing the protection buyer with discretion or optionality on any matter increases the risk to the seller and thus drives up the CDS spread. Therefore, the correct answer is D as in David.